G'day all, this is Yankor. Continuing with my experience and travels in the interdimensional existence before everything stopped. How I gathered my own spacecraft colony is where I will be continuing. I, in my little spacecraft that I inherited from Anu, travelled as far and as wide as I possibly could and followed my own curiosity about what I had learned in school with Satya of existence. And so I travelled, going, investigating, exploring, discovering, but always from a distance, more just being an observant. And then, as I continued with my travels, explorations and discoveries, during those endeavors, met up with some other beings in the interdimensional existence who also travelled alone. The loners of existence, merely travelling, exploring, discovering. There was no reason or specific purpose. It was just interesting and fascinating. It was a momentary experience of freedom. Strange. And so I met up with some 17 beings who travelled all alone over existence, doing the same as what I did, just wanting to experience that freedom of discovering and exploring existence alone. And we started getting together, all 17 of us, and travelled together. But this time, we went first to each other's existences to go and explore and discover and investigate and find out how each other experiences, ourselves in our own existence or on our own planet or on our own city. And I had my own diary where I wrote on a piece of script, everything that I discovered, investigated, found, insightful, interesting, fascinating, so that my name could possibly also be placed in the library of Alcyone one day, only to later discover that everything that I'd written was already there. But me, I don't enjoy just reading. When I read something, I always used to make a list when I was younger about, I want to go to this galaxy, this universe, this existence, this planet, this city. I want to meet these people, these beings, want to learn, discover how do they do this, how do they do that. I want to do everything. I didn't want to just sit and read about this stuff and let it all happen in my imagination. I actually wanted to go out and do it. And I had 17 beings with the exact same passion as myself. So, one of these 17 beings, great-grandfather, it wasn't like great-grandfathers or grandfathers or anything like that. It was merely, I'm placing it into perspective for human beings to kind of understand the lineage and the time frame, etc., of the beings that did exist. Anyway, so his great-grandfather dissipated. Now, you do die in the dimensional existence. You only have a certain period of time to exist. It's like goddamn population control. So, he dissipated, and he had this huge, massive spacecraft. And thank goodness, one of the 17 beings, his great-grandfather was, inherited this spacecraft. Yay for us. So, all 17 of us had our one huge, big spacecraft. This was our first and only spacecraft. Huge. So, with the spacecraft, we just traveled more. Now this time we could travel even further than we have before, because previously we had a certain limited distance travel capability with the spacecrafts we had. With this one, we were able to jump time, go into past, present, future, etc. It is quite fascinating. Only to discover later that even if we did jump to the future, it was all controlled environment. And that I will explain later. So, in essence, in terms of my experience, I thought everything was all blissfully perfect in any and all existences. We had fun, we explored, investigated, discovered, and had that sense of freedom, safety, protection. There was nothing that ever really bothered any of us because there was so much to do. In terms of the amount of time we had to live, it was unlimited. There wasn't unlimited from the perspective that there was unlimited and vast existences to go and explore, and you'd never get bored. That was impossible. If anyone uttered the words "I am bored," well, after having exploring, or during even exploring everything in existence, there would be, if they were a mental institution in the dimensional existence, they'd probably be placed in there. Now, in terms of the boredom that I had on my own planet, that's valid, because we didn't have this one planet, this one city, the same beings you see all the time. Others were content with that, but me, I wanted to go out there and everything that Satya taught us in terms of all the other universes, existences, planets, cities, races. I was intrigued. It was like there was a spark of fire ignited inside me, and I just had to go there. And I followed this passion with a passion. And but the most fascinating race for me personally were the Draconians. They were really interesting beings. Beautiful creatures. The dragons that you have in your tales, tales like fairy tales, or I don't know, beliefs, etc. Okay, this is Yankor. I will continue with my favorite race that was in existence, the Draconians, in my next interview. Thank you.